Today we're talking about how I finally got my kids to participate in chores. And I want to give you the same resources so that you can do this with your kids. And I promise you it can start as young as 2 or 3. And definitely we want to start it as early as possible. But if you haven't done it yet, it's never too late. It's never too early. So let's dive in. This is something I hear a lot from parents, like, is it too young to expect something of them? I don't know, they're only 3 or 5 or 7. I hear that even from parents. Or I'll have parents say, well, it is pulling teeth. Anytime I ask them to do something, they will be like, or no, or it creates a fight. So I'm like, whatever, it's not worth it. I'm just gonna do it myself. Friend, today's episode is gonna address all of these areas. So first thing that I want you to know about how I got my kids to participate in chores is we made agreements in advance. You're probably like, we're hearing that all the time from you, Flora. And I hope that you are. I hope that you are starting to feel like you're hearing that all the time from me, because it's an important key to how I see parents getting into more joy and ease. Make an agreement in advance. So for instance, when I was just asking my kids ad hoc, like in the moment occasionally, to help with something, it didn't go well. I'd be like, hey guys, could you help unload the dishwasher? We've kind of got a lot going on. And they'd be like, moan, groan, I don't want to. And then it was like this battle. Or if I was saying, I think that today let's make your lunch. Oh, really? But you always do it, Mom. And it'd be this whole battle. So if you want to change something with your kids being involved in chores and household tasks, first thing you gotta do, my friend, is make an agreement in advance. Decide you're gonna make a change and do it. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably need to be reined in a little bit from making this agreement in advance be too big. Like I remember one summer when I was trying to get the kids to do some schoolwork regularly through the summer, I was like, we're gonna write a letter to grandma every single day. And of course that wasn't realistic in the summer, and I've done it with chores too. So rein it in, make sure that you're not getting too carried away, that it's sustainable. I love that word, that you make a sustainable plan in advance. So here's one thing that worked really well for our family. I wanted the kids to be more involved in emptying the dishwasher. And this started when the kids were 5 and 7. And I said, let's make a plan that every other day they're gonna help unload the dishwasher Monday through Friday. And we have some pictures on of the kids on our refrigerator. So we just took a little happy face magnet and put it next to whoever's face it was for that day, and then moved it after the kid emptied the dishwasher to the other child's face. That worked well for us to have a sustainable way to remember whose freaking turn is it today. I can't remember. There's so much on my mind. So, and then first thing in the morning, it was just a part of after they did breakfast and before we were playing with anything, because there's usually like a little lull of about 10 to 15 minutes. And that was enough time. I mean, frankly, it really takes probably about 3 to 4 minutes to empty the dishwasher. So even if you're like, I don't know if we got time for that, that's where it worked for us. For you, it might be a different time. Maybe you're able to run the dishwasher in a time where before they head up to bedtime would be the time to have someone help. But making that agreement in advance that they were gonna take turns and it was gonna be every other day, there were some battles at first, but then pretty quickly we got into where it wasn't a daily battle. They knew what was agreed. Second thing that's gonna help you to get your kids involved in chores is use when-then agreements. So when-thens connected to your agreements really give them that oomph, that spine that matters, okay? Gives them, I don't know, I'm missing the word, but gives them that muscle behind the agreement. So what do I mean? When-then would look something like, when you have helped with the task that we agree to during the week, then you get 2 hours of cartoons on Saturday and Sunday morning. And when there's a day we have a battle over something, then you automatically lose a half hour of that time. And I think it's important to use increments when we're taking things away instead of the whole thing. That's it, you lost cartoons. Well, then what's to motivate them the next day to do that chore? So I find that that's the most sustainable. Look at the privileges that you're already likely giving the kids. So you don't have to add an extra, like you get a toy from Target or we're gonna go get ice cream. No. Just the typical rhythm of privileges that they're already enjoying. You just tie that to their responsibilities. And friend, hear this. Here's a key reason this is important. Because privilege without responsibility equals entitlement. Hear that again. Privilege without responsibility equals entitlement. So if you've been frustrated that your kids just seem to demand the right to watch their shows and never be helpful, that's because you may be missing that equation. Let's start putting in place regular agreements in advance tied to when-thens. When you've done what you need to do for the family to be helpful, then you get the things that you want to do. When you've done what you need to do, then you get what you want to do. Really straightforward. And this is really a good lifelong principle. This is not bribing. This is the real life way that we live. You know, when you show up to work, then you get your paycheck and you don't get fired. When, you know, for myself, when I clean my house, then I get to enjoy a clean house. When I go grocery shopping and do that work, I have food in the fridge to get to eat. You know, I mean, it's when we do our work, then we get our rewards is a system we want them to set up for life. So 2 key things that got my kids involved in chores. 1 was agreements in advance. 2 was things that were tying it to a when-then. Friend, if you need help with this and you're not sure, or you're like, what about at this age group or that age group? This is what I love to do as a parenting coach. And as one mom just said to me this morning, she's like, how do people do this without help? I mean, like everything you just shared with me, Flora, this is helping so much. And how do people do this parenting thing well without help? And I was like, well, you know how it used to be was that the grandmas and the moms or the dads and the grandpas all lived together and we had this generational wisdom and support right there at our fingertips and nurturing us in the family. But we don't have that in our world mostly today. If you do have it, that's fantastic. But a lot of times we don't have it. Or even if we have those people in our lives, they might not be the example we're wanting to influence us the strongest. So we live in a world where we find the help in the best way we can. And friend, I'd love to be that support for you. Reach out. And I have options between utilizing insurance or having a group option that really brings the cost down for you so that we can get you the support to have more joy and ease in parenting. Because friend, I want you to be having every tool you can to parent with kindness and firmness at the same time so that parenting finally feels sustainable.